Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. This is a series on metta meditation, universal love. This is the 10th in the series, and I will briefly recall whatever has been discussed so far and then continue further. The series is based on Karaniya Metta Sutta, Buddha's discourse on universal love. Now, we have already discussed metta or universal love to be practiced in various ways, in ways that completely covers one's very existence. Life ultimately can be reduced to three things: action, bodily action, speech, verbal action, and thought, mental action. So metta has to be love or loving kindness has to be an attitude that infuses every part of our existence, every aspect of our existence. In other words, metta sila, the way we conduct ourselves, the way we behave ourselves, the way we interact with other people, the way we talk to other people, our own people, the way we think, the attitudes we build when influenced by mass media, not to be prejudiced by mass media. All these are aspects of metta. Metta covers all these various aspects of life. In other words, life itself we should live as an embodiment of universal love. When we succeed in doing so, we are close to Nibbana, enlightenment, freedom from spiritual freedom, freedom from the bondage of karma and punarjanma, rebirth. If life can be reduced to action, in threefold action, then it is through this threefold action that the bondage should be broken. If threefold action involves us in samsaric existence, it is a threefold metta action that should free the mind from the bondage of samsaric existence. This is the idea behind. As I recapitulate, first of all, in this sutta, the metta has been presented in three forms. First, as metta sila, metta as a conduct, bodily action, which means the way we behave, the way we conduct ourselves, all that. Then metta as a meditation, mental action. There are two types of meditations, metta meditations in Buddhism. One is metta samatha meditation, that means calming down, a practice of metta meditation by which you calm down the mind. You bring about a unification of mind, an integration of all the faculties of mind, which brings about tranquility. So samatha meditation is meditation which brings about tranquility, inner tranquility. And then the other method is vipassana meditation, which means cultivation of insight into reality. Life has to be reduced to its ultimate nature. And once we do that, and we are able to discover the ultimate reality of life, the truth about life, then by cultivating this insight, we can develop supermundane consciousness, lokuttara chitta, by means of which we can attain enlightenment and freedom from the bondage of samsaric existence. Samsaric existence means worldly existence. So now, metta, sila, the way we conduct ourselves and behave, etc., should be such that we establish a perfect interaction with the world. First of all, with ourselves, we must bring about inner peace, inner harmony, in the form that whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever we think, must be perfectly integrated, perfectly harmonized. Saying something, thinking something else, doing something else is the sign of a real fool. A person who does not know, who creates barriers all the time around him. He creates so many personalities, double personality, triple personality and all that sort of thing that modern psychology talks about. We should have a very unified character. That can come only when we practice metta through all our actions, whether it's a bodily action, verbal action or mental action. Action is the ultimate. You see, life can be reduced to action. And we shall make use of this very action to get out of worldly existence. We are bound because of our actions, karma. So we have to free ourselves from the same action, and the same action must become the tool, the instrument for freedom, instead of being a tool for bondage. So the sutta deals very elaborately about metta sila, which I have already dealt with and all of you know. I mean those who have been coming regularly. Metta meditation as a samatha meditation also I have discussed. First of all, for instance, metta has to start with oneself. Only then we can radiate thoughts of metta on others. The Visuddhi Magga is a monumental work, a world classic, written by Acharya Buddharakkhita Bhante. The metta, in the meditation on metta, the chapter on metta meditation, there you find a very wonderful analogy, an illustration of how metta has to be practiced. What kind of attitude is required? What kind of conduct is called for? What kind of behavior is necessary? All these are very beautifully illustrated by this particular analogy, and I am going to recall it. He says, suppose you are in a place, let us say we are in Kaban Park. We are in the evening having a nice free air because the whole city is polluted by all these carbon dioxide emissions, and so we go to this open place, a nice, fresh, to have fresh breath, fresh air. Now we are sitting, and then we are also discussing on certain subject, maybe some kind of discourse or discussion. So here you have got yourself, then you have got somebody whom you respect, maybe your teachers or somebody, then somebody that you really love, a close, let us say, your own family members or relatives, etc., and then some friends, then some neutral people. That means you are acquainted, but you are not particularly close. And then a person whom you dislike, a disliked person, or for whom you have got some kind of ill will or resentment. And then a person who doesn't belong to any of these categories, but who is plain and wicked person, you want to get out of his company or not even see him. So all these different types are seated there. They are only where you are all there, among hundreds of people. They are all seated in these 6 categories. Now, a Veerappa type bandit appears. This man comes with a gun and several of his other bandits. They say, look, we are going to have a Naravali, a human sacrifice in the name of some god or goddess or god or some celestial being, and so that our venture, our various activities of committing dacoity, robbery, this, that and so on, will be successful in that. And he says, if you don't listen to me, we are going to finish every one of you. Here we have got a big bomb in our hand. We'll just put the bomb and the whole lot of you will be finished. So you have to take his word seriously. He says, look, you are the teacher, good. You are giving the lecture, fine. Now tell me whom you will choose. I just want one man. I don't want too many. Naravali or Yajna, Naramedha Yajna it is called. Tantrics did that in the past, and if they get a chance to do, even today they will do. Now, this, he says, I believe in tantric sacrifice, therefore, I just want one person. Suppose you say, look, how can I give him my teacher or respected person or my very dear one or my relatives and family members or my friend or you say acquaintance, a neutral person. Or so if you say, okay, this fellow is wicked, you let him go. Or this fellow, I don't like this person. You have got hostile feeling towards him. You harbor ill will. So you say, okay, you take him. Now, your metta is a big failure because you have not broken the barrier between these various categories of people. Human beings cannot live without some kind of relationship. Human beings are gregarious beings. They exist together. They live together in combination as a class or a group or so on, or a family. So we have to establish a perfect, harmonious, beneficial, friendly and loving relationship between all categories of people. You respect a man because you love the man. Your own near and dear ones are dear to you because you love them. And love here does not mean sensual love, no. That's no love at all, that is passion. Love here means universal love, spiritual love, selfless love, which means parahita, parasukha, kamana, an intense will and desire for the benefit, promoting the benefit and happiness of others. Just as you seek your own benefit and happiness, seek the same for others as well. This is the basic attitude of metta. So with this approach, now you have all these different categories. You've got to have the same approach towards everyone, whether it's a respected one, a beloved one, a relative, a friend, or a neutral person, an acquaintance, or a neighbor, or a colleague, Or these, not only limited to these, you can widen your consciousness by focusing your thoughts of metta on each person, person by person. You can do that. But when you come to a person whom you dislike, there you have created a barrier, and unless this barrier is broken, your metta will never be successful. So the barrier is within your mind. And the mind is that you harbor something that hurts you. So, in the bandit comes and you say, no, how can I sacrifice any one of these people? Yes, I dislike this man, or he is a wicked fellow, that's true. But, well, he will pay for his own karmas, and why should I bother? Let me not give them. Then you say, okay, let me sacrifice myself. Let me give myself up. After all, what is their life? One day we have to go, we have to die, and we'll have to be reborn again. So let it be. Let him take my life. So I said, okay, you take me, my dear. You take me and be done with it. There also you have failed in metta. Because metta, well-being, wishing the well-being and happiness of all, that includes you too. So metta must start with oneself when we practice person by person. Now once we do that, we develop an attitude, a behavior, a mode of conduct that gets beautifully suffused with positive thoughts of metta, love, loving kindness, friendliness, non-violence, inoffensiveness. These are some of the terms that can explain the nature of metta. Now once having done that, then you go to the impersonal level. Then you take up a whole class of people, and in a given area. I have illustrated this also. Let us say you have got your own family. You don't see any particular member of the family, but you combine the whole lot of them and every aspect of your family life, and say, may all my members of the family, including myself, may this family enjoy peace, happiness, and harmony. May there be no ill will anywhere in this family. May there be no harboring of hatred in this family. And so on. Then you take the next house, next house, next house in all the four directions and proceed. And you cover the entire locality one by one. And this you do not as an intellectual exercise. Just intellectually saying, oh, may he be happy, may he be happy, may she be happy, and so on. That will be fruitless. You have to actually spread metta on each category or class. And this you can do only when you have applied metta on your personal level and on the person-to-person level. So the mind gets so used to this, your attitude, your whole philosophy of life is so imbued with metta, that when you now spread this metta on a whole class of people in a given area, it works. It works magnificently. If that were not true, when, for instance, Lord Buddha, he spent 2 hours a day, and the very first thing he did when he got up in the morning, 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, he remained immersed in boundless compassion. The thought that, takes up suffering of others on oneself and seeks to remove every trace of suffering in any form. And this can happen only when you also wish the happiness of all. So if you are like this, and it worked. Throughout the 45 years mission of compassion of Buddha, millions of beings, human beings and devas, other beings, they were all influenced profoundly. They became enlightened ones in different stages of enlightenment. Even today, after 2,600 years, all of us are trying to follow the Buddha, his example, his universal love, his love for truth, and total commitment to the ultimate truth, and not to any other thing. We do that exactly because of the love, the profound universal love that the Buddha spread over the entire universe, all the 31 planes of existence. We still do that. So, it can be very effective when you practice metta in an impersonal way, in the way I have now mentioned. Now this, once enlarged from your village, from your locality to the entire city, to the entire country, to the entire globe, and further to the entire solar system. Once the thought becomes universal by spreading thoughts of metta, you have brought about very successfully the breaking of all barriers. Breaking of barriers is the very essence in the practice of metta. So once you do that, then comes the universalization of metta. Today we want to discuss about it in as simple a language as possible. It's not very easy to put this particular method of meditation. This requires a lot of a very developed consciousness, developed mind. Now this is done in three ways. Universalization is done in three ways. One is called Bodhiso Pharana, the radiation of universal thought of metta. You see, by way of, in a generalized way, Bodhiso, Avadhi, Avadhiso. That is in a generalized way. Then Anodhiso, Anavadhi, that means in a very specific way, specified way. Then it is called Disha Pharana. That means directional wise radiation of metta, universal thought of metta. Now, in these three distinct ways, when metta is practiced, the mind can be lifted from the Kamavachara to the Rupavachara level. We are all beings living in the Kamavachara, in the sphere of Kama, desire, where our lives are very much influenced indeed, very much caught up with sense desire. Desire born of sense. Or here senses are doors where you interact with the external world. Your internal world interacts with the external world through your senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. There are the 6 indriyas or senses. Now the 5 indriyas relate us with the external world. The eye relates us with all visible objects. The entire visible universe becomes a part of our existence, or we become a part of that world through this eye, ability to see. So when we are not able to see, we have missed a whole chunk of the universe. A whole world experience is beyond us. We lose that. Similarly, when we are deaf and we can't hear, a whole world of hearing sound and talk and all kinds of the world of sounds, all that is gone. Now, then the world of smell through the nose, the world of taste and flavor and all that through the tongue, and the touch, contact we have with the external world with our bodily sense, body. And the mind, through the mind, we open up our mental vision. We are able to conceptualize, we are able to have, let us say, concepts, that is a mental picture. We can picturize everything in the mind by way of certain ideas, certain concepts, and so on. So metta has to be built for its universalization. It has to be built as metta sati. That is to say, sati literally means mindfulness. So in the sutta it is said, etang sating aditthaya. So develop a universal consciousness of mind, where everything in the universe comes within the gamut of your universal love. Now, to build this step by step, as I have already mentioned, see, Bodhi so means in a generalized way. Say you conceptualize or you conceive mentally, have a mental picture, just as a mother conceives a baby, you see. Similarly, your mind conceives an idea, a concept, a mental picture. So now this mental picture should be of a class or a group, but in a generalized way. When you say sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta, may all beings be happy. Satta means sattva, all living creatures, all beings, all sentient entity. So all forms of life. So you can have many words for that. So there are 5 such words which really signify the same thing in 5 different terms, and therefore 5 different ways of conceptualizing that, different ways of having mental picture. So first is there is pana and sabbe satta, all beings, living beings. Sabbe pana. Pana means beings who breathe, those who breathe. The whole world breathes in some way or other. That means all living creatures. Then those who are sabbe bhuta, those who exist actually as a sentient being, as different from a piece of stone or a mountain or whatever, as a living organism, bhuta, something that exists as a living thing. Sabbe pudgala. Pudgalam means individualized existence. All individualized life form, all forms of organic existence. Then attabhava paryapanna. 5 all sentient beings, creatures. So these are 5 different words having 5 different concepts, mental pictures. You can use all of them to bring about the entire universe within the gamut of your universal radiation of metta, love. So if you say, may all beings be happy, in a very generalized way you are thinking of the whole living creatures. Or when you say all breathing beings, all living organism, all individualized existence, all sentient creatures, really you are it is all-inclusive term, each one. And so in each one you have an all-inclusive concept of metta and say, may they be happy. Or Anodhisho means in another way it will be rather specified. This very generalized one will have to be specified. And specification in this sense, you say now, may all female beings be happy, or may all male beings be happy, or may all, let us say, liberated beings, all enlightened beings be happy. May all unenlightened, unliberated beings be happy. Or you go a little more specifically, you say, may all divine beings, devas, be happy. In the various deva planes, may they all enjoy harmony, peace, and happiness. May all human beings in all the various parts of the globe, our world, or in any other world, wherever there are human beings or human creatures, may they all be happy. May they all enjoy peace, live in perfect peace and harmony. Or all devas, human beings, and then all subhuman beings, animal kind, spirit world, demoniac world, hellish beings, all kinds of beings below this Sugati, as the sphere where happiness exists. The sphere, the nether world, where there is only unhappiness and misery. Fear, immense fear, the animal world and so on. So even those beings who are constantly suffering, who are in a state of anxiety and affliction all the time, may they all be happy. May they be freed from their pain and suffering and agony, their fear, their insecurity and all that. May they all enjoy peace and may they all live happily. So this is sevenfold categorization of all beings. One is a more generalized, the other is a little more specific. Then comes the third, which is called Disha Pharana, radiation of metta. Direction-wise, there are 10 directions. Now, you say the eastern direction, in a clockwise, if you see the directions, eastern direct, the sun arises in the east, so all beings, etc., in the eastern direction, or in the southern directions, or in the western direction, or in the northern direction, or in between, interdirectional, that is the northeast, southeast, northwest, southwest, and below and above. May all be, you see, in all the 10 directions, you take up in a general way, you say, may all, let us say, all female kinds in the eastern direction, may they all be at peace. May they be happy, may they enjoy perfect harmony in their families or wherever they live in their countries, in every situation. May they be free from anger, free from hatred or hostility, freed from affliction and distress. So you wish them profoundly, all female kind everywhere. Yeah, direction by direction, in the eastern direction, in the southern direction, in the western direction, in the northern, and then the intermediate below and above. So direction-wise, you take up each of the generalized 5 forms, 5 concepts of all beings, and the specific concepts of beings in 7 forms. That is 12 altogether. Sorry. Now, if you radiate thoughts of metta with these concepts, mental pictures of these 12 different categories of mental pictures, direction-wise, in all the 12 directions. A time will come you will lose all sense of time, all sense of space, all sense of individualized consciousness of I-ness and my-ness. The thought becomes so vast, so sublime and powerful that you encompass the entire universe. Once it is done, once any sense of I-ness is gone, therewith many other things will go. For instance, any kind of desire through the senses, anything that you desire or crave through your eye, seeing things or hearing things, etc. So when any kind of sensual desire also is gone, completely lost, when you lose sense of I-ness, and so on. I will elaborate on this in the next discourse. Today I will leave it at this. Now this is the universalization of the practice of metta, leading to jhana, samadhi. The metta can bring about 3 stages of jhana or samadhi. The first jhana, second jhana, and the third jhana. How that can happen will be the subject for the next discourse. And when this is all over, I will take up metta as a vipassana. Vipassana is dealing with ultimate realities. So now, to practice metta in that way, in a vipassana, from the standpoint of ultimate truth, that requires a lot of practice, a lot of, sublimation of one's conduct, thought, speech, action, mind in general. So this will be, we'll discuss about it in the next. May the blessings of Lord Buddha, his Dhamma and Sangha envelop all your being, all of you, and enable you to practice metta in a realistic way, in a successful way. May you all be happy. Sabbe sukhino bhavantu.